Hello, everyone. Welcome to Saturday Night Sprints. I know that's a little bit different from what we usually do. Hold on, this camera is driving me a little bit batty. Okay, that's better. That's the angle we want. This thing gets moved around so much, the camera is always at like the weirdest angle possible. But hello and welcome, everyone. I was getting my hair done this morning, so we didn't do Saturday morning sprints, and now it's bothering me because it's down. Anyways, how is everyone this evening? What are we up to? What are we doing? What's going on? Let's check out. Give me a second. I'm going to put my hair up and then I'm going to see who's in the chat. So, hello, Kellen. Welcome. How are you doing? I do have a friend that's going to show up potentially a little bit later. Hi, Michaela. How are you today? Hey, Brenna. And we have a Glinda. Hey, Glinda. Hi, Jamie. We've got Tennille. Welcome. Let me know what you guys are all up to this evening. I have a bunch of little stuff going on this evening. There's just like a bunch of stuff that I need to get done before I leave for my trip because I'm going out with my parents to Idaho. So just a bunch of stuff to get done. Because of course I waited until the last minute to do all of it. Hello, Dark Rose. How are you today? Okay. Kellen is reading We Hunt the Flame, 100 pages and finishing, and then I'm starting Hemlock and Silver. Oh, I'm jealous. I need to read Hemlock and Silver. I should. My phone is my phone is over there. So I'm actually going to take a moment. Request Hemlock and Silver. That was one of my most anticipated books for the summer. That's what we just got through. And then I completely forgot to get any of those books, with the exception of one of the books that I am working on tonight. But I'm almost done that book, so like it doesn't really count as a book I'm working on tonight. I read a lot of it while I was getting bright colors put in my hair. Anyways, I'm making a note for myself since I don't have my phone to be able to do it right now. Oh, I guess I could do it right now on my computer. But anyways, let's see. Britta says, I've been listening to The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa on and off all day. I'm currently, okay, that sounds really interesting. What is this book about? God, I forgot that this is not, hold on. Let's see. Sign in with email. In theory, okay, good. In theory, they should have all of my Goodreads information. I just haven't signed on in like 75,000 years. Okay. Yeah, because I'm still reading, according to Goodreads, I'm still reading the books that I was working on last August. Anyways, The Memory Police. I can spell. Come on. I can't spell. Never mind. Yoko Ogawa. Oh, that is a very I like that. So that's such an interesting concept for the cover, because like it's for those that aren't looking it up because you're not weird like me, it's like a photo of someone and then it's like a children's drawing has been cut out and placed over places in that photo. So that's really cool. Okay. Okay. So like basically in this book, stuff has been disappearing and most people aren't aware of this, but the few that are, sounds like they get hauled in by the memory police. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay. Hey, Anne, welcome. I just finished the Idaho 4 by James Patterson, 5 stars. Just started Dusk by Robbie Arnault. Okay. Is the Idaho 4, I'm going to add the memory police to my want to read. Is the Idaho 4 a new book? Because I feel like that feels linked to, yeah, okay, it is linked to the college students that died. That, oh man, I was watching the documentary that was it Amazon put out on that. I love it. The cover is made me pick it up. It's purely based on vibes. Aha! Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hold on. I lost the Idaho 4. Interesting that James Patterson would go into true crime, but like, yeah, I remember watching that. I don't know. Have you seen the Idaho 4 documentary yet, Clara? It's on Amazon Prime.
Mm-mm.
No, it's I got so mad because it like highlighted every single issue that I have with the way that true crime currently operates.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoy true crime by proper journalists, right? Who are
Yeah.
abiding by journalistic ethics. They're keeping in mind the victims, blah, 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 blah. But like true crime, like influencers, nah, they can all go. They can all go.
Yeah. Yeah. I found like I feel like what I sort of read instead of true crime is like nonfiction that reads like a narrative. Like it
Yeah,
reads like a really gripping thriller. Like Prequel by Rachel Maddow, I thought was excellent, and that was kind of,
yeah,
yeah, that's sort of what I do instead of true
yeah.
crime.
I think true crime, if it's done right, can be really, really good at highlighting the inequities and the inequities, the injustices, and the imbalances in the systems that we use.
Hmm.
And like, it can be a great learning thing, like to show, hey, this is if we had these are the things that need to change, and this didn't have to go this way. But
Yeah.
so many of them, it's just like it's like salacious gossip. Did you hear what happened? Or fear mongering.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
um,
or just like the sensationalizing of like actual grief and loss
yeah,
is just, it's hard, like especially when people do it about cases that are recent enough that the family is still around and is like, please don't do this, and they do it anyway. Um, yeah. Hello, everybody.
yes, hello. Yeah, no, or like they use it as propaganda. Anyways, y'all, if cops show up at your door, ask for a warrant. That is your legal right, and it doesn't make you. They will tell you that it makes you suspicious to ask for a warrant and ask for a lawyer if you get brought in, but that's your legal right.
Yeah.
Do it anyways. They, it was so funny. My brother got pulled over in Georgia on the way down and consented to having his car searched because the cop was like, "Your eyes are a little red." Blah, blah, blah. And my mom was like, "Oh my god, he might have planted evidence." I was like, "Yeah, that's a thing they do. I'm glad you can recognize that, but this guy is like the least likely person to get evidence planted on him.
Yeah.
He is he's not in danger. He's 6'4" and very white. He
Yeah.
looks like a Viking.
Yeah.
The fact that he was pulled over and all was surprising, but he touched his phone.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, Michaela is here eating dinner. I plan on playing a game and finishing Dinner for Vampires by Bethany Joy Gems. Very nice. How are you doing, by the way? How's your afternoon going, Kara?
It's good. It is real hot here.
I'm so
So
sorry. Oh
yes.
yeah, you guys are dealing with it's like the cool weather is coming in, but it's like coming in the Midwest, and it's missing all of the states that are normally hot.
Yeah. Well, and I'm very lucky because the part of California that I live in, we don't get the really bad like
Yeah.
weather extremes. But it's like fairly hot for us like this last week or so. So I have a window open and I have my fan on. So I'm hoping that the sound is not
It is not carrying through. You're good. StreamYard has pretty good sound
cool.
cancellation. So
Yeah.
that's good.
So otherwise
That's
it's
lovely.
been pretty chill day. So
Very nice. What are you working on today?
So my plan, if I can find where I put it, I would like to read, like I think I mentioned last time we did sprints together. I have just not been reading very much. Like, and
Neither
I,
have I.
yeah, and I'm
Mhm.
bummed about it. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with like hobbies that you do less for a period, but
Yeah.
for me specifically right now, it's like, well, I miss it, and I really want to do it more, and I also think it would be
Absolutely.
good for my mental health if I do it more.
Mhm.
So I would like to focus on Every Bird of Prince by Jen Reese. It's a pretty short book, so I really should be able to make some good progress in it. And I'm enjoying
Mhm.
it. Again, I just haven't been reading a lot of anything. And it's
Understand.
middle grade contemporary with a little bit of fantasy. And the main character is realizing that she's Ace and Arrow, which I think is
Oh,
very
that's
cool
cool.
in a middle grade because like kids that young can realize these things about themselves. And so it's about like how her friends are talking about like who they have crushes on, and they want to know who she has a crush on, and she like feels weird because like that doesn't describe how she feels about anybody, but she wants to be normal, so she just like makes something up, and then she's like, oh my god, now they're trying to like make me date this boy. So it feels like a very very like honest and believable way for this girl like to be put in these situations. And then on top of that, there's like a fun like fantasy story where she ends up finding like a prince of the birds, which is why the title is Every Bird a Prince. And so she's like having to help them with their kingdom and stuff. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be reading. I might theoretically also try to do some video stuff. Like, because theoretically that is a thing I also do. And yeah, I always plan to do more of that, so I should try to do that tonight.
So for tonight, and I'll get back to everybody in the comments, don't worry. For tonight, I have a couple of things. First things first, I need to get dinner. It is late here. Should I have had dinner?
I also need to have dinner at some point. So.
Yeah. The first sprint is going. I might stick to 45 for the rest of them, but because I'm studying. I'm going to be studying for most of this. It's not fun. I don't like it. I don't want to be, but I have to be if I want to keep my job. And I kind of like my job. But I am going to be finishing hopefully finishing the Undermining of Twyla and Frank. I'm literally on the epilogue. I just need to read the epilogue and I'm done. Because I read most of this while I was getting my hair done. And then I would like, while I'm making dinner, I'm going to listen to A Song for the Wild Belt. Because I want to finish the duology and I need to reread this. So, and I don't remember anything about it. So there's that. It's fun. But then after that, it's certifications after dinner. Yay me. Okay. Steph says, hi, hello, reading Silver Elite, my first book since you. Truly, though, like, I feel like a lot of people are talking about what you were just talking about, Kara, to circle back. Like, I've been struggling to read. And part of that, I feel like, is I just keep getting caught in the doom scrolling.
Yes.
Right? Part of that is that, like, when I'm not doom scrolling, what I want to be doing is watching YouTube, because I have a campaign and a half of Critical Role to get caught up on. So it's like, maybe it's like I'm like, you know what, maybe this just is a year that we don't read as much as we usually do.
Yeah, like I lowered my Goodreads goal for the first time that I remember, and so it felt weird, but I'm like, this is fine. Like we were talking about before, it's like I want to read more because it's something I enjoy and it's important to me, and I genuinely think it will help with some of some of the mental health things going on. So there are reasons I want to get back into it, but I don't think, like, it's understandable that a lot of us are having trouble, like, on books. Yeah.
I wish I was the kind of person, I wish I was like a Brandon Sanderson's type, where, like, when I am stressed, I'm reading a ton, I'm writing a ton, I'm being super productive. I'm not that kind of stressed person. I'm the kind of stressed person that shuts down.
What's weird for me is that I usually am that person. Like, reading, I always do a ton of reading when I'm really stressed and like really anxious. So this is like unusual for me, and it's thrown me off a little bit. I have been getting back into like PC games, and that's been really fun. And that has been the thing that is sort of like turning off my anxiety brain for a while, the way that books often do. So it's unsettling that my usual strategy isn't working, but I'm hoping that it's like a temporary thing.
What PC games do you like to play?
I play like a variety. Like, a lot of them are like RPG or like, cozy game is like such a buzzword right now, but I feel like there's a ton of variation in that. So I like various kinds. Also into visual novels. And I really like games that are sort of like a little of each. Like, actually, one of the ones that I've been playing a lot and loving is My Time at Sandrock. Which has a lot of like emphasis on like character and story, but there's also like, you also like build things, and apparently it makes my brain very happy to like virtually build things. Like, that just, it does well for me.
Listen, that's
yeah.
why I love me some Zoo Tycoon. I can lose hours
Oh my
playing Zoo
gosh, I
Tycoon.
loved Zoo Tycoon. I need to get back into some of the newer
Yeah.
versions because I haven't played in a long time. But and then the
I
other, oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I had to buy it off of Amazon to get because I wanted like the Zoo Tycoon 2 that I had played
Hmm.
in like middle school and high school. I was like, that's what I want. I don't want the new one. The new one is fun and all, but I want the one where you actually have to like think about how you're building stuff. You don't they've adjusted it so you don't have to think quite as much about it, which is sad to me, but still. But I will like just be like, I'm just gonna play for like 10 minutes, for like 30 minutes. And then it's like I get so focused. I'm like, I'm so close to the goal. We can do this.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if it was Zoo Tycoon 2 that I played when I was younger. It might have been that same one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. And this isn't on PC, it's on like other platforms, but I also have been playing a lot of Fire Emblem, which is like
Oh, nice.
strategy. Yeah, and I
I
really
love
enjoy
Fire
that.
Emblem.
So,
My I don't do a lot of gaming. Like my gaming has been primarily when I was a teenager. My PC gaming was like things like Age of Empires, Zeus, Zoo Tycoon, like those city building games. I sucked at the ones that you had like consoles and stuff, like your typical video game. But I have started getting more into that with when my brother introduced me to Baldur's Gate 3. So now I have Baldur's Gate 3 that I'm working through, and I have Skyrim, and I refuse to download any other games until I finish one of them.
yeah. I have like thought about making a rule for myself like that because I probably need to, but
I mean, right now my gaming computer is out of room because the like 1 terabyte hard drive that I installed is partitioned weird. So my brother's supposed to fix that with me when I see him next week. But yeah, I have like there are so many of them like, ooh, this sounds like I want to do Dragon Age and all of that. And I'm like, Margaret, you have 7 different Baldur's Gate games going. You need to finish one of them before you, because that's my thing. That's what I do is whenever I have a new Dungeons and Dragons character, I go, we're gonna go build them in Baldur's Gate so I can start figuring out how to use the character ahead of time because I'm a teacher's pet.
yeah.
So okay, let's see. Let's get back to the comments real quick. I want to get through this. Hey, Jamie finished the library at Hellbore about 20 minutes ago. So I'm just do you need wait. Looks like you already have. So I'm just trying to figure out my thoughts. LOL. After I'll finally first time read We Used to Live Here. Okay, you've already got your book chosen. Beautiful. Dark Rose says, good and started Serpent in the Wings of Night. Hi, Helen. How are you? Oh no. Hi, I hope everyone is reading a better book than me. What book is it, Helen? I have to read it for book club. I love it. Daniela says, literally just finished the last book of the Scarlet Revolution trilogy. Do I know this trilogy? I don't know. It's a reimagining of the Scarlet Pimpernel and the French Revolution reimagined. The aristocrats and vampires. What?
That might be one that I've had on my list. So I am really glad to hear that you at least enjoyed it enough to read the whole series. Yeah, I love when fantastical or paranormal elements like literalize things like that. I think that is so cool and clever.
Do I know how to spell revolution? Oh, I see it. Okay, I see it. That's so fascinating. I've added like 5 books to my want to read already, just in the like 19 minutes we've been doing this. Hey, Lily, welcome. Lily is reading The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Hi, Brianna. How are you this evening? What you up to? How is your Saturday going? I was angry at all the red flags. This read like a nerd. Understandable. Yeah, understandable. I think Anne was reading the Idaho 4. Yeah. It just, like, watching that documentary made me so mad. Ooh, okay. Gigi is reading Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. I have to read that this year. Anyways, I really need to get into Cosmere. I read the first Mistborn novel and I own the entire trilogy in Elantris. I'm trying. It looks bigger and scarier than it is. The one thing I will say for Brandon Sanderson is that he is a very like his and I'm not shitting on him at all because I do enjoy his books. his books look more complicated than they are, and his fandom makes them seem more complicated than they are, right? Like, he actually, with the except, like, the least accessible thing about Brandon as a writer is just the sheer volume he writes in some of his books. The actual fantasy and character and world building is actually pretty accessible when it comes to fantasy. Like, I wouldn't suggest anyone start with him because he's kind of intimidating, but I would say that if you've read some epic fantasy, he's a good one to, like, cut your teeth on.
And I don't think it's a criticism of a writer to say that, oh no, it's not unnecessarily complicated. You know, it's kind of weird that there's this, like, assumption that something has to be at least a little hard to get into for it to be, like, well built, and that's just not true.
Yeah, I think, like, the hardest thing I think about The Way of Kings is how long it takes, because it's a 1,000-page novel, and typically in a 1,000-page novel, your inciting incident, or not, typically in a novel, your inciting incident is starting somewhere like 10 to 25% into the novel, right? So for a 1,000-page novel, that's like 1 to 200 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what makes it, like, because there's so much setup in Way of Kings. Mistborn is a lot easier. I liked, my favorite Mistborn, actually, Kellen, is the second era. I haven't finished it yet, but that is my favorite. And not to go into the subject that always comes up when Kara and I are here, and not to, I will say, I do have to give Robin Hobb her flowers there as well, because she also writes very accessible fantasy, and she writes very, like, realistic fantasy.
But similarly, people act like
she's
you need like 4 PhDs to understand one of her books, and I'm like, no, like, I get it.
No, but, like, it's so interesting because, like, the thing I remember when I was reading, what the fuck is the first book, Assassin's Apprentice, is I was going, oh, so she names things the way people actually name them in real life, in history. So, like, my gripes with some of the choices, yes, because they're going to plant evidence on a white. I mean, to be fair, he didn't have a PhD at the time. Oh, that's funny. Like, my gripes with her writing choices aside, she does have a really good grasp in history and how things worked in the time period that she's kind of basing her stuff off of. So, anyways, and I like that. I like that as someone who's a very, like, I was like, oh, I don't have to have a weird fancy name that's in a language that I made up.
Yeah.
To be able to write fantasy and name things. Because, like, even Tolkien, while he came up with his own fucking language, he was naming things the way, like, this mountain, you know, this peak, like, Riverdale. Like that. Anyways, yeah, it's very interesting when you sit down and look at what the people who actually understand what they're writing are doing, and then you see the people who took all of the wrong lessons from what epic fantasy should be. But as an ace person who felt wrong all my life until it clicked, I'm always looking for books that feature Arrow ace rep. Yes, I love it. Being ace on any level is kind of confusing. Because your friends are talking about stuff and you're like, you okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad. I'm happy for you. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I remember me and my friends, we used to say, like, we couldn't tell you, like, we're like, yeah, we couldn't tell you if a guy was hot. We wouldn't know. Like, what? Like, now I'm like, I can tell who is objective, and I know more now. I'm like, I know who's objectively attractive, and I know what I find attractive, right? But
well,
yeah,
and I feel like part of the, I don't know, societal confusion is, like, that it seems a lot of people assume that Ace and Arrow always happen together. And like, sometimes they do, and obviously that's fine. And, like, the book I was talking about, she is both, and that is, like, important to have representation of as well. But I feel like it extra confuses people when they're like, so wait, you do like some of it, but only some of it? Like, what? Like, it's like a very all or nothing thing. Like, I feel like sexuality is perceived that way. So yeah,
and I think it is sometimes a little bit of a something that you find in the ace community, I think, that kind of spreads out, because I do like some of these debates were what introduced me to the idea of asexual and demisexual. And so I like came up on Tumblr reading some of those. And it was very interesting to see how like there are people who want to very much be like, this is the only way to be ace, and everyone else. And then there are people like, no, it's a spectrum like everything else.
Yeah. Or it's like you even see it like the number of reviews where people are talking about a book and like, oh, it's so great that the author wrote this like asexual representation and like they don't have a romance. And it's like, okay, those things are cool, but they don't necessarily have to happen together. Like that doesn't.
You don't have to. I mean, I want a romance, but you don't have to have one.
Yeah.
So, hi, Julie. Welcome. Brenna says, I keep telling myself I'm going to try one, and then I see how much. Okay, good news for you, Brenna. Beautiful news. Fantastic news. Campaign 4 is coming. We're getting a brand new DM, and we're starting in a brand new world. So, like, you don't have to know any of the past stuff to be able to get into it. Mark your calendar for October 2nd. And then, if you like the cast, DM me on Instagram or whatever. I'll tell you how I think, like, what I would suggest. Honestly, I can help you figure out which campaign you want to start with if you want more. Because, like, I started watching in 2021, and I just kind of watch it in bursts, right? So I'm very excited about, like, the cast that they've added. Abria is going to be a player.
You had the elevator pitch ready to go. I'm so impressed.
Listen. My two favorite DMs in the world are going to be on that show. For anyone wondering, they are Brennan Lee Mulligan and Abria Iyengar. Matt, unfortunately for him, comes third. So, like, and I get to see Abria is so brilliant as a player. I'm just like, but it's if you want to get into Critical Role, Brenna, now is the perfect time. And then you have that backlog for between episodes when you're tearing your hair out because you're so stressed. But yes. Anyways, back to I've been in the worst slump due to mental health. I haven't read anything really since last November. Then I'm getting back into it, making people right. I have the same thing with writing right now, where like I'm finally starting to write again. It's been 5 years. Yep, world is in chaos, and we're seeking comfort. And you know what? I was never the unhinged kid that was like letting the animals out. Like I'm always so annoyed when the animals get out.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into Marine Mania, because somehow my fucking whales end up teleporting out of their containment, and I don't understand how it happens.
Well, you obviously got the magical whale expansion. Like
what do you mean?
Yeah.
They're in the middle of the grass.
Yeah. Like I played around with some of the like chaotic, like, oh, like put the guests in like animal enclosure, blah, blah, blah. But like most of the time I'm like, I want to do a good job. Like I am really mad that these 3 guests can't find the bathroom that is right in front of them. That is like personally offending me.
I will pick them up and move them. Like
I do too. I would do that too. And sometimes they'd walk away, Margaret. Like,
no, I'm leaving. And it's like, okay, I guess you're gonna piss yourself in the car on the way back.
Yeah.
No, it's what I mean. The one nice thing about the aquatic animals getting out is that, or at least the whales, like and sharks and stuff, is if they get out, they're automatically in the little containment because they can't be out of the water. They're not like the tigers that are gonna run around and kill guests.
Yeah.
I love my time at Sandrock. I love cozy games. I play a lot of Coral Island and Fields of Mystery. Very nice.
Yes.
We got a roller coaster tycoon girly. I was not. We didn't have a lot of computer games when I was growing up. So, like, we had that and we had Age of Empires. I don't even know how we got Age of Empires because looking back, you'd think my mother would think that was too violent. She makes no sense. For non-cozy, I'm obsessed with Final Fantasy 14 and Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
I have thought about getting into Dragon Age.
I know that if I get into Final Fantasy, I will be so mad because I've watched my brother play, and they like sad endings. And I'm just like, if I know there's a sad ending and I don't have a choice, why?
Yeah. like when I play games, I like having the options and I like doing things well. Like that's one of the things that I enjoy
Mhm.
about like video games. So it's like, why would I put effort into something that's only going to end one way? I don't know.
Like, I understand if I fail at something, the story going wrong, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get that. I can accept that. But like me not having any say whether or not a character, like an important character, lives or dies, no, thank you.
Yeah. Actually, one that I really love is I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. And this is like that
Okay.
thing I was talking about where it's like a combination of like visual novel, some like actual gameplay mechanics, and like a stat raiser sort of thing. And I really like that one because it's like a time loop story.
Yeah.
And so like the first run, it's rough. Like you lose a lot of people because you just literally don't have the information to like do anything about it. But after that, you keep the memories of the first time. And so you're like the rest of the game, you can play as many times as you want. And like the rest of the game is like doing things better, which I think that also has been very like
Nice.
healing and peaceful for, you know, things happening. Um yeah, and I think it does a really interesting job of like talking about the concept of like exo colonies, you know, like the fact that, you know, humans at this point in time, they do need somewhere to live. But what does that mean when there are other kinds of life already there? Like how much sentience do they need for it to be considered like colonizing?
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting and just
Yeah.
and the art is beautiful. Anyway, that's my pitch for that one.
I just wanted to I might have to look into that one. Another one that I'm looking into is something called Split Fiction. Rachel was playing it with her husband Carlos the other night, and I was like, oh, this looks really interesting. This like looks like something that might be fun for me and my brother to play together. Brianna downloaded the Ultimate Time Sucker sim last week. And I've been
Oh
doing
man.
that's why I like Zoo Tycoon, because Zoo Tycoon is a game where I will not need to pause the audiobook at all. Like at this point, I've done Baldur's Gate so many times that I will listen to audiobooks while I'm playing. But like I still have to pause when there's dialogue because I want to.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going to make the same choice every time, I want to make sure I'm making the right choice.
And you want to enjoy the performance. Like
I'm so bad at being mean. That's like my wife said. She has so many games going and hasn't finished it once. We won't talk about. I plan on finishing all of them. You know, you might be better off. I feel like Assassin's Apprentice is I'll say that Assassin's Apprentice and Royal Assassin were the best ones of what I've read of her so far.
Yes, I agree.
So, my wife is there, but not Ace. Well, I'm Ace.
That's great. Yeah.
Oh, I love that, Kellen. That's amazing. What does Sarah know? You know what to do. What does Sarah know? Tell me, please. Thank you. Anyways, yeah, no, there was a whole big. Like, let me get this. There was a whole big debate online. Because every time stuff came up about are they going to play Daggerheart, are they going to play D&D, and I was just like, they're going to both are equal in my mind. Like there's an equal chance of both. Now that Brendan is DMing, there's an even better chance that it's going to be D&D. And who was right? I had so many Daggerheart bros in my comments telling me I was insane for thinking that D&D had a chance in it. They're like, I was like, you guys think that they hate D&D, but no, if they had the chance to own that game, they would own that game. It's their favorite thing. I'm excited for Campaign 4. I'm so slowly waking my way. The first one is so fun. I love that. I have a weird thing that won't let me watch things out, but I'm going to try Campaign. Yeah, so if that's the case, you will have to suffer a little bit because Campaign 1, the beginning, they have a problem player. And then the audio and stuff, not the greatest. But once you get past the first 20 or so episodes, it is all fun, no sadness. I mean, there is sadness. Anyways, it is a great time, and a lot of the issues get cleared up. But yeah, this one, like it says Campaign 4, but it's its own thing. It's like, think of it like novels. So like we have a trilogy and then we have a standalone that's in a completely separate world from the same author. That's what's going on with Campaign 4. But the audio is rough. And unfortunately, I do think that like they just had a situation where somebody who was fine at a home table ended up not being great in front of an audience, and just not behaving the best. So it's very sad that he wasn't able to continue with him. But you're very right.
Mission accomplished for tonight, Margaret.
Yes. I'm so sorry for what you're about to go through. just to let you know. If you want to get an idea of what it's going to look like, just go watch EXU Calamity. That's another one that's like doesn't have any specific order. It's like actually the prequel to everything. Go watch EXU Calamity and cry. It's one of the few pieces of media that has had me in tears at the very end. I was just like, this is so good. Anyways, I am going to pull up the timer and I'm going to go get food.
Yeah.
I mean, the good news is, Brenna, that it cannot be a time suck just yet because the episodes are coming out one at a time. So
it'll be a nicely paced time suck, which totally different.
Yeah. But yeah. So okay, give me just a second. And EXU Calamity, by the way, is 4 episodes. It's a great place to start if you want to see how Brennan's going to be DMing. But all right, I am going in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. not set up. No, thank you. Anyways, welcome back, everybody. That was a sprint. How did you do, Kara?
It was good. I did indeed have some dinner. So,
Good for you.
10 out
So
of
did
10
I.
would recommend eating. And I did read actually a good chunk of Every Word of Prince. So I think I'm like more than a third done. Like I said, it's super short. And yeah, I think it's really well done. And I just want to like give all these kids a hug. Yeah, just like about, feeling like there's something wrong with them and just like how complicated, like even though I didn't go through like the exact same things as the main character, it's like that feeling of like just assuming that other people are like you about things, and then you find out that they're not, and it's like very lonely. So
It's also
I hurt for them.
Wild being okay. Good night, Tennille. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Have a good night. Sleep well. It's really interesting, like having, and I don't know if this was because I know you were raised Catholic, so you might have had a slightly different experience than I did, but it's so interesting, like being on the A spectrum and like being raised in a purity culture world, because growing up, like it took me forever to realize that I don't think about things the way other people do, because everyone was supposed to be thinking about things the way I was.
Yeah.
Like it's like a super power that helps you survive purity culture. But like it wasn't until I started doing a little bit of deconstruction that I was like, oh.
Yeah. That wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, I think it was really much more an evangelical thing.
Yeah, I think that part of it, that specific part of it is, I mean, there's definitely like some similarities in terms of like other just general views on sexuality.
Yeah.
And I think also, I mean, like with any religion or belief system, like so much can vary just based on like where you specifically went to church. Yeah, like, or like what your like parish is like, or anything like that.
Well, like because of the church that I went to, I had a much I know for a fact that I had a much better time with purity culture, because it was like we didn't get the same, how do I describe this? So like the way that our youth pastors approached it was sex is good and healthy with the right person, like with who you're, it's unhealthy outside of a marriage, but it is healthy inside of a marriage. Does that make sense? Like, and so they did say like, no, yeah, you're gonna feel things. You're going to like, that's like there was very much a normalization of that. At least in the church that I went to, it was still very toxic.
But it was like less so.
But it was also like a kind of like a like it was packages like this is something that's really good that's worth waiting for. So there was a little bit like the shame was there, but it was less overt, and it was primarily there for the people who were not doing what they were supposed to be doing. So yeah. The really fun thing was when I explained demisexuality to my mom. My mom's like, well, that's how everyone feels. And I was like, okay, Mom.
Like, good to know. Yeah. Well, and I have been very lucky because like my parents like raised us to like that it was okay to like ask questions and to have like different opinions, even about like things relating to religion. Like I remember I don't know how old I was. Maybe like
it's probably my mother's biggest mistake.
What's that?
Telling me I said that was probably my mother's biggest mistake, was telling me to read the Bible and not just listen to what the person at the pulpit was
Yeah.
saying.
I think I was around like 13 or 14, and in one of my religion classes, like one of the other students like asked a question about like animals
Mhm.
going to heaven, and the person who was like presenting or answering the questions was like, well, like I know it's not the answer you want to hear, but like they teach that they don't. And like even at the time, I was pretty young. I was like, I don't agree with that. I'm not gonna believe it. Like, and especially because like, not to get too far into like the weeds or the specifics, but like if it's good enough for St. Francis of Assisi, it's good enough for me. So that's not even like a consistent answer that she was giving. So there's other factors, but yeah,
Oh,
like
that's funny. I get that
listen,
reference.
like I was like St. Francis says, like yeah, that was a
That's
good
so
one.
funny. It's so funny. I took, what was it? It was my East-West synthesis class. So they were talking about the connections between the Eastern and the Western world. And one of the things she talked about, she's like, the teacher was like, so those early saints, very gay. If you read some of their writings, very gay.
Yeah.
It was so, I think that was the first time that like really truly, and I was like still way far from when I was going to start deconstructing. That was one of the first times that like we sat and we watched a video on like them talking about how these monks and these what ended up being saints were writing about each other.
Well, and like
Um,
it makes sense because would have been like a socially acceptable way
yeah,
to not be forced into a heterosexual marriage, and to like I mean it makes sense. Like I think that is a very like practical sort of thing to come out of
yeah.
like different religious life. Like obviously not everybody who
No,
like took orders like was gay, but
no,
like yeah, it
obviously, but
totally
like
makes sense.
when that's your companionship, right?
Yeah. And it was probably like a similar thing where they're like, "Oh, so this is just how you feel when you're like a
Yeah.
nun or when you're like a priest." So, yeah.
And they also, at that point, they also had a very different view of sex, if I remember correctly. Like the early Middle Ages, it kind of wasn't sex unless it was could result in a
Mhm.
child, like for procreational purposes. There was a lot that people would like look away from.
Mhm.
So, like, yeah, but no, it's especially when like you're gonna see a lot more of that when the only option you have for companionship is the same gender as you. Like, and they also have a very different understanding of, because like you see this even in, which is why people are so like historians will be like, you have to be careful when you are trying to talk about whether or not a figure was gay or
Mhm.
straight or whatever based on how they write about the same gender, because there was a level of like intimacy that was allowed between the
Yes.
same gender, because there was no
Yes.
intimacy between the same gender that we don't have now because of the
Yeah.
way that Puritanism took over this country, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, like it's so
we're getting in the
true.
weeds, guys.
And
I promise we're going to move on. but
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
but yeah. So but yeah, it is so interesting to like kind of remember and under, because there are exchanges where they sound very romantic,
Yeah.
but they also could have just been a friendship. Like you don't know.
Right. And it's one of those things where like obviously it's important to acknowledge that there
Yep.
have always been gay people in relationships in history, but you also it's like you don't want to go so far as to say that like that kind of bond can only be romantic,
Mhm.
like because that
Yeah.
also is like doing a disservice to like the complexity of like human relationships. And like
Yeah.
it doesn't, like it can be like it could be a romantic relationship, it could be a deep friendship or
Mhm.
platonic relationship, and either of those things are like equally valuable and important. And so like yeah, like I definitely understand the like the pull to find sort of historical like role models almost, or like examples, so
Yeah.
I get
And
that.
they're there. They're absolutely there.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's like it's really funny like reading like historians of that time, they're talking about like after, you know, someone passed away, and it's like, and her very good friend, where they slept in the same bed for 30 years and they were buried in the same grave, and like their like linens had their initials entwined like married couples do. They were such good gal pals. Like
it's the same thing with like there's a difference between and I think you see it a lot more with women than you saw it with, like it's a lot more clear when it's men, but like there are actual historical figures that cross-dressed because that was what they felt fit them the most. Like I can't remember who it is, but like they had everyone refer to them as a man. They wanted to be buried, they lived their life as a man, blah, all of that. And then there will be people where it's like that is that's an argument that can be made, but you can also see the same art, like the argument can also be made that they wanted to live a life that wasn't available to them,
yeah,
because they were a woman and they couldn't like have that career and things like that. And it comes down to like you have to look at the context around them, how they talked about themselves, diary entries, things like that. And it's always so fascinating to see when people are able to actually be like, okay, but like here is I think is it Emily Dickinson? Here is everything that we have on Emily Dickinson, absolutely 100%. There's no questions about it. And then there are the ones where like you can go back and forth about it a little bit. But we had a couple people join us. Hello, Heather. Hello, Ashley. By the way, Tennille did taste test 2 books before to see which one she wanted to start next. Kellen got to, oh my God, you're so close to the end. Kellen got to 398 of 472 of We Hunt the Flame. I also did a bad thing and made myself coffee so I can actually finish my current read.
Sometimes
I finally finished the book. I feel that I made tea when I got home. Actually, no, I got home and I crashed. I made tea at like 6 o'clock so I wouldn't have a caffeine headache tomorrow.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's going to be a coin toss whether or not I will actually fall asleep tonight, because
I'm realizing that I had coffee from earlier that like I haven't finished, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna drink it when I'm reading later. Like,
yeah,
it's gonna, like it's not decaf.
Caffeine does not have a huge effect on me. It's never, like, outside of the first time, it's never made me hyper. It's never done any good helping wake me up. The one thing that it does do is if I drink it too late in the day, sometimes it will keep me up. Like not even in a hyper way, just in a no, I can't shut down kind of way.
Yeah, I'm like really sensitive to caffeine in chocolate for whatever reason, but not like
coffee.
I am with coffee, but not nearly as much. Like having coffee later in the day than I should is not going to do a number on me the way that having like a few squares of chocolate at night will. So
nice. Brenna finished The Memory Police 4.5 stars and started The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. Very nice. I need to turn my brain off. Listen, I have nothing against turning your brain off. I would love to be able to turn my brain off.
It's like your computer. Sometimes you got to update and shut down. Like,
the only time my brain is off is if I'm sleeping. But like sometimes, like, I fully appreciate sometimes you just need a book where you don't have to think. Like, I think that we should engage with and think about our books generally, but not all the time.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it all the time.
There are even some times for me where it feels like better and more what I am in the mood for to read like a 3 or 4 star book than like a 5-star book, because a lot of times with like a book that I love, there's like an intensity which is good, but sometimes I'm like, I just want to coast. Like I like you said, Margaret, it's not that I'm not engaging with what I'm reading, but it's like I don't want the like anxiety that comes from being so deeply invested in what I'm reading. I just want it to be like, this was nice. I enjoyed this. This is fun.
What is it like to not be deeply invested?
Oh no, like I am absolutely. I'm saying like once in a while I'll have a book where it's like I am enjoying it, or it's kind of like middle of the road, and that is sort of like the peaceful experience that I need, as opposed to most of the time where I am very much like invested and in my feelings. So
if I'm not invested, I'm bored, unfortunately for me. Just the way I am. Helen finished the Terrible Book Club book. I'm going to reread a fun middle grade from my youth to recover. Did you ever tell us what the Terrible Book Club book was? feel free to tell us. We might not agree with you, but you know, we might. Kellen says my wife had a similar experience when she discovered she was aphantasic, no mental imagery or inner monologue. She was concerned when our son, like 6 or 7, described his imaginary world. Yeah, that is such an interesting. I don't think I'm fully aphantasic, but I do think that there is a. I have to work harder at the mental imagery sometimes. Oh, Heather filmed and started the upload of their September TBR. I need to do that tomorrow. So I have 2 videos that I need to film tomorrow so that I can edit them while I am on vacation, and have them go up at the time where they are going to most likely be viewed. She thought he was hallucinating when I said that was normal. She had an epiphany that we view things very differently. Oh my god, as I am hyper fantasia. Okay. Like I get full movies in 3D with sound effects when I close my eyes. Sometimes it actually keeps. Hey Rob, how are you? You made it before the last sprint. Butterflies and Books is here. Currently reading the undercutting of Rosie and Adam, the 3rd book. I just finished the 2nd book. Butterflies. Thank you. I just finished this. I think I gave it 3 stars. Like it's not I didn't love it as much as the first one, but it was a good time. So
I did not like the first one, but so I haven't continued and I probably won't, but
this one was very different. And I appreciate what she was doing, but it's like this one was much more heavy on the fantasy than the romance, because the romance is kind of slow burn. And if it wasn't in a series, I don't know that I would call it a romance, if that makes sense.
I mean, I love a like slow burn or subtle, like barely there romance plot. Yeah. I just don't know that I would like I really didn't like the way she did it in the first book. So I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't like. I want to read other stuff.
That back and forth, and so I did just get Rosie and Adam from my library, so I can download it on my Kindle and take it with me. But I can understand that though, because there was there's stuff in here that I think that she did because she's writing a really well-rounded, or trying to write a really well-rounded character. But that I think there's stuff in here that people are going to have a problem with some of the characters' views, and feel that they are outdated. When I'm like, well, I mean, when you think about it, her as a 53-year-old woman that having lived the life that she's lived, it makes sense that she would think about things that way. And that she would have those feelings. There's a whole part where she goes on a rant about listen, you have the equipment. These are the expectations that are going to be put on you as a wife and mother because of what you were born with. And it was, I was like, this is feeling a little traditionalist. And then she came back and she was like, okay, here's how it really, she's like, just no, she came back, she's like, here, just know that even if you have someone that is committed to not doing this because of the way things work, there's still a chance that this can happen. So, just because of the way society is built. And I was like, okay, I appreciate that. That's an actual nuanced conversation.
Yeah.
Good. This has been a very heavy comics year for me since the Ultimate Marvel comics have made a comeback and DC has created its own version of those. Ooh, which version is DC's? Ironic, because if I were an educator in the 90s, I would be expected to scold one for reading comics. Oh, shut the fuck up, whoever wants to do that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I understand why kids need to also read novels, but you have to get them reading and wanting to read first, right? I feel like that's the important part, is to make sure they're having fun reading. And then you go, okay, let's challenge ourselves. But times have changed, of course, now that the Goodreads Storygraph is now letting you count individual comic issues as a single book. That's nice. I have read Song for a while, but this is a reread for me that it's been a little over a year, and I wanted to reread it before I moved on to Prayer for the Crown Shy. It's very good. I like it. Yeah, I know there's a spectrum. Yeah. It just came out, Kellen. It came out, I don't remember when. Nope, that's the wrong book. That won't tell me shit. It came out Okay, is doing a line of Absolute Comics. Okay, I might have to look into that. Yeah, it just came out like last month. I knew this when I made the video about my most anticipated reads. I don't remember when though. So, anyways, shall we do? I think we're gonna do one more sprint because we have talked. Let's reset just a second, and I think we'll do another hour just so I have a good time, a good amount of time to like sit down and study.
Yeah, my goal is to get halfway through my book. I have semi-abandoned the idea of maybe trying to do some video stuff.
I mean, do the reading now. The video stuff can happen later.
There you go. I mean, you have to read for video stuff, so at some point I would need to do that.
Exactly. All right, where did it go? There we are. All right, we will be going in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
You're muted, Margaret.
Yeah, I did. I am, aren't I? How did you do that sprint?
It was good. I definitely hit my goal because I've got
Amazing.
I've got like I think less than 100 pages.
Mhm.
So I might try and finish it tonight because, like I said, it reads very quickly. And like Kellen, I also just want to have like finished a book. Like, I have read some things this year, but I don't know. I miss that feeling of like finishing books.
I think I'm sitting at like 30 books right now that I have read for the year. And that is so low based on what I normally do. And I'm just like, it's okay, Margaret. It's
Yeah.
fun. Like, it's been a year. It's okay that you're not reading as much. I have 15 books that I have started and I'm halfway through.
Yeah.
But I just don't finish them apparently.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I studied a little bit. I didn't do nearly as much as I would have liked because I was going back and forth trying to figure out other things with other people. So let me where do we okay. I appreciate that, Heather. Please, yes. Please and thank you. Hit the like button. Hello. I'm working on edits tonight for my book and I'm on chapter 20 of 30. Amazing. Hi, Katie. How are you? Michaela is back. Doom scrolled and took a shower, but now I'm going to pick up my Kindle. Good for you. Get some reading done. Well, so I love this. Kellen's like, okay, so I changed my mind. I will be reading We Free the Stars after finishing We Hunt the Flame because I have to know how it ends the duology. I remember finishing We Hunt the Flame, and I think We Free the Stars might have already been out at that point. I might have already owned it at that point, but there was some reason that I couldn't dive right into it. And I remembered like that was I can't help it. It's such a good book, especially if all the action is starting to happen. Yes.
I'm excited to hear that because it's a series, like I own the first book and it's a series I still want to read. And I've heard like, I don't know, kind of mediocre reviews for it more recently.
It's
but
a
they're
lot
not,
like
I mean, they're not reviews that like,
yeah.
I don't know, this is weird. It's like they're not reviews that I think I would agree with. It just makes me kind of bummed. And I'm like, I don't know if I like, what if I don't like it either, you know? So
I feel like We Hunt the like that specific duology, and I just read A Tempest of Tea, and that one didn't hook me nearly as much as the Sands of Aralia did. Like I still enjoyed it, but like I was so attached to the characters of We Hunt the Flame. If you are, and you do have to sit with it for a minute because like some of the setup is it's like normally I would be against this. It's like me with the Cruel Prince. It's like normally some of this might not work for me, but if you stick with it long enough to get into some of the reasons and like get to know the characters, if the characters grab you, it's very much a character driven book. If you like the characters, you will most likely like the book, right?
Yeah, and I think I remember that one of the things for people who didn't like the book, like they were talking about like pacing they didn't like. I almost never care about pacing. Like I just don't. Like if I'm invested, I'm invested. Like it doesn't matter if the book is like slow in one part and then speeds up too quickly at another part. I'm like, if I'm enjoying it, then I'm enjoying it. Like it's not gonna
I didn't notice anything that I cared about the pacing. There are a couple of things. One of them was an audiobook thing, just that there were times where you could very clearly tell that they'd recorded parts of it again later because it just was like a very different. And then the other thing there is, I do feel like the romance maybe ties up with a little bit too neat of a bow for some people, but I also feel like because it's fantasy, it works that we're doing this. Especially knowing the beliefs of the author, if that makes sense. So got to page 463 of 472. So yes, even after sprints, I will be up to finish the book. Very nice. I am here. Oh my God, Kellen, you've got this. You're so close. You are so close.
Yeah.
All right. Rope finished the most recent volume of Ultimate Spider-Man and the first issue of Absolute Martian Manhunter and started an episode of Pokemon. I think this feels like a healthy combination of all good things. Chapter and a half for Katie. Very amazing job. Okay. I love Half the Fizzles. I've read both We Hunt the Flame and A Tempest of Tea. And Kellen, I would say, I think that We Hunt the Flame is the stronger work. It's just, oh, it's so good.
I have read one or two of her short stories that have been part of anthologies, and I have really enjoyed those. So, like, I think I am gonna really like her stuff. But
the steampunk setting of Tempest of Tea is one of the best parts about it. I love it. I cannot wait to get to A Steeping of Blood because, like, there are parts of it that I liked. I think for me, it was I really enjoyed that book. It got 4 stars as opposed to 5 stars, which We Hunt the Flame was just like 5 stars all the way around. But I also think that depending on how A Steeping of Blood goes, the rating could go up upon reread. Yeah. Like, it's one of those I was like, okay, this is not my favorite thing. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I felt like the ending was a little rushed. But sometimes the ending has to be rushed. So, like, it's one of those things where, like, depending on how we handle certain elements in the next book, that could be 5 stars.
Yeah.
Has great promise.
And like when I say like I almost never care about pacing, it's like I guess I should modify that a little. It's like there are times where I'll say like I think the book spent too long on this part of the story and not enough on something else. But to me, I guess that just feels a little different than like general pacing complaints. Yeah. Like, I don't know, sometimes, and maybe this is my like misinterpretation, but sometimes like when I hear reviewers saying that something was poorly paced or like inconsistently paced, like I kind of don't understand that because I'm like, well, but you do have like lulls in a story and then you have like building to action. So I don't know.
My thing is the pacing appropriate for what's happening, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like one of the books that I really like, if I notice the pacing and I'm like, I'm not great about, you're doing a really bad job. If I'm like,
yes, exactly.
Generally. Good night, Michaela. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Like they're Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. He has a really solid ending on that book.
Mm-hmm.
The pacing sucks.
Yeah.
Like it is something like I was like, I wish I was I'm like, let me edit this book, my dude. Let me edit it. Because, like, the ending takes, I would say, 3 times as long. That's one of my biggest gripes with the book, was it took 3 times as long as it needed to because of how he was doing it. And I understood what he was trying to do with that. I just don't think there was a certain kind of suspense he was trying to build.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think he did it well. I think he would have done better with that if he had gotten to the point quicker.
Yeah.
So that people are less frustrated with what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and I'm finding, like, for me, that I, like, you know, sometimes people will talk about, like, needing a hook to grab them at the beginning of a book. And, like, you know, I can understand that. I think for me, it's not like I need something to happen at the beginning, but I do really, like, much prefer when a book's premise is, like, clear from the beginning. So, like, you don't have to start out in the middle of, like, the action or, like, you know, the heist or, like, mystery or whatever. But if I'm sold a book that is, like, let's say, of course, now I can't think of an example, but okay, like, if it's sold as, like, a Little Mermaid retelling, for example, and you're, like, 8 chapters in and nobody's a mermaid, I'm kind of gonna be like, like what? Like, if it wasn't clear from the book that it was gonna be that kind of, like, slow build or, like, you know, a different kind of story.
Or that, like, it's a Little Mermaid retelling, but, like, the mermaid, we're replacing the mermaid aspect with something else, right?
Exactly. That's different, and that sets my expectations differently. But if you like, if you sell the book as one thing and then I'm, like, reading it waiting for the thing to happen, it's always going to feel slow to me or, like, not interesting because it doesn't match the experience that I was promised. And not in a way that, like, books shouldn't surprise you, because I think they often do, and that's a good thing. But, like, if they're like, hey, you might want to read this book if you want to read this thing, and I'm like, cool, I do want to read this thing, and then you pick it up and it doesn't happen. Like
it's about the promise of the premise, not to harp on our favorite subject. But that was my biggest problem with Live Ships, was that the promise of the premise in the first book was not delivered in the final book. And you can change what the premise is over a series, right?
Yeah.
But there wasn't she did not take enough time.
No, and like, ma'am, we spent 2,400 pages of you not doing this. So it's not just like you didn't deliver. Like you wasted so much of my life and didn't deliver.
Like, you can't do 2 3/4 of a book. Like, this is what we're doing, and then in the final quarter go, actually no.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think if she had started, I don't want to spoil it, if the thing that I have the biggest problem with, which is wild considering some of the things that I have problems with, the other big thing, but the thing I had the biggest problem with, I was like, if we had started doing this kind of introspection into what that character wanted in book 2, like there are some passing mentions of it, but not enough. Like, we needed to have her questioning that from the beginning of book 3.
Yeah.
Instead of that being her full goal, because like the entire reason that stops being her goal hinges on something that, in my opinion, should not have happened.
Yeah, you're right.
And then, of course, the way that it fucking ended. Like, oh yeah, okay.
Like, whatever the opposite of a girl's girl is, that's what Robin Hobb is to me. Like, it would be.
Here's the thing. I think Robin Hobb thinks she's a girl's girl.
She does? Yeah. Again, not to get too far into our favorite thing to bitch about, but like,
I really want
I'm like sad. It's like, I read her books and I'm like, do you have friends who are women? Like, I just feel sad for you.
She's got a very specific, like, I need to like actually do some research into the waves of feminism, because I feel like her books fit into a specific wave of feminism. I just don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
Like,
she hasn't grown at all in terms of like.
I mean, when was her last book published though? That's the real thing. I understand that she does grow in like that final quartet that she does. Because we have I have a friend that's read that and really enjoyed it. Cal's read that and really enjoyed that specific series. That's the only one that he has read, because he said that she does have like queer characters and things like that in it. So it's a lot more progressive than some of her other books.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I mean, I obviously haven't read the last series, but I don't know that having like the existence of like queer characters and storylines convinces me that your underlying beliefs about gender or about consent, for example, I don't know that would convince me that part has gotten better.
Considering that it's Cal, I have hope. Because Cal tends to be a lot more hardline on some of those things than I am. Like, there are things that I'll be like, I get it. That Cal will be like, no, why? Absolutely not. So, but also, like, you are right that I don't know that her gender essentialism necessarily will have gotten better.
Yeah.
So, like, anyways. All right. That is going to bring us to the end of sprints. Before we go, Kara, do you have anything you want to plug real quick for your channel?
Well, okay. So, excitingly, I did finally post another video.
Amazing.
I'm still working on getting back to consistency, and I am still catching up with like wrap-ups and various other things, but I feel better knowing that I've at least like started working on that more. Yeah, and I guess the upshot of me having read so much less lately is that when I get to the later part of catching up, it's gonna go so fast. It's like I read 2 things in 3 months. Here we go.
There is a reason that I just was like, go look at my channel and see when the last wrap up I did was. It was a while ago. I've started like last year's wrap up and this year's wrap up was just me ranking books that I read and talking a little bit about them and how I felt about them as I did.
And I get that. Like I was talking to some of my other friends on our crafting sprints, and like Huck was like, you should like just don't do it. Like you're obviously stressed about it. Just like move on. And I'm like, I get that, but I actually really do like having a record of what I've read and what my reviews are. Like I find that very valuable for having like a channel, and it would bother me to like have a chunk of time where that's just missing. So at this point, at least, I don't want to just bail on it.
That makes sense. I mean, you could always do like there's the hits and misses kind of thing that you could do for each month potentially.
That's true.
Like, hey, here's everything I read, and these are the ones I specifically want to talk about. If you have any that like
problem is like I basically always have things I want to talk about. Like and sometimes a book that is like so mediocre or so middle of the road, it's like this is a review I feel strongly about because this book gave me no feelings, you know. So but yeah, no, I do get the switching up the format might be a good way. I've already kind of done that because I'm doing more like chunks of books rather than like specific like wrap-ups for a month. But
like you can, well, that's part of what I was trying to do for a while, and what I need to get back into doing is like doing recent reads by genre. So like I do 10 fantasy books, and it's like doesn't give you like, it's not like February wrap up. It's like, hey, here's a bunch of fantasy that I read recently, and people are more likely to click on it sometimes. So
yeah.
But anyways, I just posted a very, very, very late August TBR. I primarily posted it just because I had already edited most of it.
Yes.
And I wanted it up for accountability.
Yes.
When
you put the work in, like
I put the work in, and I wanted to get paid for what I read. Okay. And if I don't put the TBR, if I don't post the TBR, then y'all don't know what I'm supposed like. Y'all can't check my work.
Yep.
I want y'all to be able to check my work. So, hold on. Oh no, we already talked about that. Okay, so we're gonna sign off for the evening. I will link. I need to go do this now. I didn't do it at beginning. I'm gonna go link Kara down below in the description box. Give me like 5 minutes to do that. If you want to check out her channel, you definitely should. Do you want to just remind
videos?
Yes. You want to real quick just remind people what you primarily read as we're signing off?
For sure. So I read all over the place. It's something that I enjoy doing and that's important to me, but I do read a lot of fantasy, historical fiction. I read all age ranges. That's something else that I feel passionately about. And actually, I host a book club about that. It's called Not a Genre Book Club. And we read and discuss young adult and middle grade books of various genres. And we discuss them the way that like it's more common to see like classic novels or like serious adult novels discussed. So that's like things that I feel extra strongly about on my channel, but I do read other things. I read a lot more like nonfiction and contemporary than I used to. Yeah, so that's been cool. So a lot, like pretty much most things, honestly. Like I read at least some of.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know. You're always my like go-to when someone's like, I need someone who reads middle grade. And I'm like, have you heard of Kara?
Thank you. I've had like a couple friends tell me is like, well, like I've been thinking about trying middle grade for a while, but like your channel or like the content you did about it is what really pushed me. And I'm like, I have achieved one of my life's purposes. This is great. So
here's the thing. I'm gonna get on a soapbox for a hot minute, and then we'll end the stream. Middle grade gets paid dust for the amount of effort that middle grade authors have to go into to write middle grade, because it often takes more skill, because you are expected to tell the same story that Brandon Sanderson tells, but you are expected to do it in 50 to 65,000 words.
Yeah. And you get less credit for it when you do. Like you get like less prestige and appreciation for it. So I mean, I think about that Madeline L'Engle quote, I think about all the time, that she's like, when I have to write something difficult, I write it for children, because like there is this level of nuance that I think we don't always, like adult readers, we don't always give middle grade like books and students or children credit for. Like the complexity of like emotion specifically is something that I think middle grade has like a very unique kind of perspective of, or like a
Yeah.
unique way of doing it. Like I think, yeah. So preaching to the choir. I so agree with you.
No, you're right. Like, look at this. Like, anyone who wants to pick up a middle grade, look at how like a really good middle grade, every single sentence is doing 3 different things. It's like you can't have a sentence that's building character and a sentence that's establishing setting and a sentence that is moving the plot forward. You have to do all 3 of those things at the same time.
Yeah.
So anyways, we'll end on that. Thank you guys for joining. And I will say there will be no sprints next weekend because I will be on a plane, unfortunately. But I will be doing some sprints for Mystic Readathon. If anyone wants to check that out, I will have that linked down below. That's a readathon coming up in September, competitive Vampire Diaries themed readathon, if anyone is interested in that. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy nerdy things. Bye!